In this lesson, we're going to create the elevators and the rudder. And to start with, what we're going to do is we're going to bring back the template. And I'm going to go to my top view. And in fact, I think I'm going to expand this to be the whole area. Now, to do this, probably the easiest way to do this is to use the EP Curve tool. Make sure it's set on first degree linear. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a curve that extends from the center line all the way around. And again, these are linear curves. So basically wherever I click, I'm going to get a straight line segment. And that's the way we want it. Now, we could go all the way across, but I don't want to do that. I want to give myself some segments. Now, to change that, I'm going to middle mouse drag from the top view. And to make a curve, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're good at keeping track, you can always make this. And there we go. So now I've got my curve. Next I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this button, which is the offset curve command, and it's going to make a jumble. And that's because the distance of 1 is too much. Instead, what we're going to do is click here, hold down the control key, and bring that down to about 0.2, maybe even less. It really doesn't matter. What we want is we do want this distance. We want it some thickness here, but not a lot. We want to keep the shape of the curve. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and click my first line, and I'm going to go to Surfaces, and I'm going to go to Loft. Okay, and what this will do is this will loft between them. We're going to do the same thing we did before, which is Uniform, Quads, General, per span number of isoparams. That's the last option. And 1 and 1, and click Apply. All right, that gives us a polygonal object going throughout our object. And I'm going to move this over. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to center my pivot and move it over. And I'm going to delete history real quick. And I want to delete history because I don't want these curves getting in the way, and I'll just go ahead and delete those. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to reference my background. I don't want to have to worry about that. So I'm going to go ahead and choose Edge, and I'm going to click these two edges, and I'm going to go to Polygons, and I'm going to find the Bridge command. I'm just going to bridge between those two. And I'm going to run through and continue to bridge. Actually, what I'll do is I'll do here 2, 3, 4, 5, and go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I realized I'm probably not going to be able to do that, so let's see what we got. Actually, easier way to do it is to use the multi-cut tool and cut a few extra edges, like so. All right, so now when we bridge, I'll just do them one at a time. Click there. Now remember, what we did was we selected these two, and bridging normally by default gives us 5 divisions, but we set that to 0 for our purposes here. So that means every time we click on that button, we get the proper number. And these are long and thin. And the truth is, if I want to, I can then go back in and cut this, cut another, and bridge. Yeah, I hit bridge, the bridge command before I selected that. It yells at you when you do that. We'll bridge there, and we'll do one more of these. And we see, and this is where you kind of have to be adaptable, because right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 edges left, and so that means I can create 2 polygons, and that will work, but I need another edge in here. So I'll go ahead and do that. Now, one thing that this new multi-cut tool does do well is it cuts across multiple edges, which you gotta love. There. And now I can bridge if I want, or better still, whoops, clicked it again. I can go to, if I can remember right off the bat, append to polygon. Append to polygon, hit Y to continue with that. And I'll hit delete to undo it and go right there. All right, so there we've created our shape here. Now that is such a useful tool. I'm just going to middle mouse drag it and drag it to the end here and put that in my shelf because it's really useful. All right, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to vertices, and I'm going to select these internal vertices like so, and then I'm notice I got all the insides, and I want to press Shift period to expand my selection. And then to loosen things up a little bit, I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, and I'm going to average vertices. Now that pulls this in. That's okay. I might do it one more time. Yeah, that'll work. It just distributes things a little bit better. Now to bring this back, I'm just going to flatten it and then move it like so. I'm going to select it and move this back to where it was. And then I will click on vertices, and I'll do my absolute transform to make sure that these work the way I want them. Now, so next I'm going to go to my right view, and I'm going to select all these vertices, and I'm going to make a lattice. And I'm going to go back to my 2 view. And this time I think I'll make this my top view. All right, so I've got my lattice. I'll use U divisions and go to I'll go ahead and move the lattice up to the top here. You can move the transform command, or you can move the lattice. It's up to you. And then I'll bring up my lattice points. Pull these down. And here the drawing doesn't quite match up, and so I can pull that out a little bit if I so choose. I don't have to, because these aren't going to impact the edge here anyway. All right, so there we go. Pull it up a little bit, pull it back just a little more. Okay, so now we've made our tail. And I'm going to go to Object Mode and click on these polygons, and I'll delete history. All right, so now I've made this. I suppose I should have checked the front view. See what we got here. Hit F. Yeah, that needs to come down. All right, so we'll make another lattice. I'll use recent commands and choose Create Lattice. And I believe this is the S divisions. Yep, that's what I want. And that should be enough. And we'll just pull these down like so. Whoops, too far. And pull that one down like to about right there. There we go. And so now we've made the shape. Now what we're going to do, we're going to delete history, and I'm going to move my pivot point up right into the center here, pretty close to it. And then I'm going to duplicate this object, and I'm going to scale it to -1 and Y. Now when I do that, I'm going to take off X-ray, and I want to take a look and see. I've got these two objects, at least this top one, the bottom one too, but I've got the two objects I'm going to have to reverse those normals. So we'll reverse them, and I'm going to hide my template real quick. That's looking about right. Now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to combine these two. Actually, I'm going to select both of them, and I'm going to combine them. And then I'm going to center my pivot, because when you combine something, you basically create a new object. And I'm going to pull this out like so. There. I'm going to go to Edges. And I'm just going to double click on these edges here to select all the way around, and I'm going to bridge. And I'm going to give my divisions 1 division. Don't know why it's giving me that green, but okay. I'll select it and just apply that same material. I'll just apply Lambert 1 to that material. And then this can go back in. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to delete these faces here. And then deselect these, holding down the Control key to deselect. Make sure I only have those faces, and I'm going to delete. Alrighty, so now we've created our tail section. And I'm going to pull these forward so that they conform a little better to the tail, to the socket. And I can also use my vertices to pull this back and maybe flatten it a little bit. Now what I can do is grab this and shrink it down a little bit. Grab these vertices and scale them up. Okay, so what we've done in this lesson, go back to Vertex and pull these over. What we've done in this lesson is we've made this elevator, and we did not get to the rudder yet, but that's okay. We'll do that in the next lesson. So in the next lesson, what we'll do is we'll create our rudder. That's going to require a 2-pin socket, which we'll talk about then.